Today's project is to tune up the wood processing portion of this Bearcat chipper shredder. In a previous video, I did a tune-up of the 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine. This chipper shredder was free, but it needed quite a bit of work. This video will focus primarily on the belt replacement and the shredder knives. I'm also planning to remove and sharpen the chipping knives as well. My first step is to remove the plastic bearing cover. This is an older unit, so the hardware is imperial sized. I decided to go old school with a T-handle spinner because it's quiet and fast. The plastic cap is a snug fit. I'm using a trim tool and a rubber mallet to release it from the threads. To remove the outboard bearing, I must first remove the set screw from the bearing stop collar. Here's a close-up of the bearing and stop collar with the set screw removed and the other loosened. This photo shows that these bolts have been replaced with long bolts that have been hacksawed to size. The bearing is held in place with 3 carriage bolts. As the nuts are loosened, the square shoulder begins to fall away from the pocket, allowing the bolts to rotate freely. Once again, I used the Automotive trim tool. This time, I used it to lever the bolt back into the pocket as I loosened the nut. The side cover is held in place with nuts and studs. I increased the leverage by installing the socket on the handle tip of the T-spinner. Once the nuts were broke free, I reverted back to the standard position. I had to switch to a ratchet for this one nut in the corner. As I lifted the side cover, the bearing got stuck at the tip of the shaft. Close examination showed the shaft was slightly mushroomed. I was able to relieve the edge of the shaft with a flat file. To achieve a consistent result, I held the file steady as I rotated the drum. With just a few minutes' work, I was able to remove the bearing and side cover. Before disassembly of the shredder knives, it's important to understand there is a particular order to maintain the balance of the shredder drum. I've included this video to show the results of an unbalanced shredder drum. The easiest way to ensure a drum set balance is to photograph and rebuild one knife set at a time. The knife sets are held in place with an Allen head nut and bolt installed through a drilled spacer. To prevent stripping the Allen bolt, I broke the nut free with a 1/4-inch ratchet, then using a long-handled Allen T, I was able to spin the bolt free. I soaked the shafts, spacers, and knives with Lennox tapping oil. I used several different methods to remove the shafts from the chipper drum. If you rotate the shredder drum, you can tap the knife shaft free through a hole in the belt side of the body. I inserted a cotter pin extractor through the bolt hole and was able to rotate the shaft and unseat it from the shredder drum. As the shaft began to rotate, I levered it toward the open side of the drum. Then I clamped the shaft with vice grips and used a claw hammer to begin extracting the shaft like pulling a nail. As the gap increased, I removed the knives and spacers from the inside until I was able to tap it free with a hammer from the inside of the drum. On 2 of the knives, the shaft was installed with the bolt hole on the cover side. I used the bolt hole with the cotter pin extractor to rotate the shaft and apply leverage to remove the shaft. I'm using a Tormek water-cooled low-speed sharpening system to sharpen and hone the knives. I began by sharpening the beveled edge of the serrated cutter. My primary focus here is to sharpen the smooth portion of the knife. Then I removed the knife from the guide and flattened the back on the side of the water-cooled stone. The last step was to remove the burr and hone the bevel on the leather strop. I also used the same process while honing the chipper knives. The chipper knives were sharpened to a keen edge and received a mirror polish. I often use a bench grinder equipped with a wire wheel to descale and burnish rusted parts. I decided to streamline the process. I'm using a Shopsmith with the variable speed motor and keyless chuck. I took it a step farther. I'm applying a counter-rotating force with a wire brush attached to a 4-inch grinder. This cleans and polishes the parts in seconds. I even burnished the tips of the shafts to allow easy installation and removal. My last step was a final polish using a Scotch-Brite disc. Next, I was able to quickly clean the Allen bolts using the 3-jaw chuck and the wire wheel. Then I inverted the bolts without fear of damaging the threads while I cleaned the cap head. During reassembly, I applied high-temperature synthetic brake grease to the shredder shafts. The components installed in positions 1 and 3 are a mirrored copy. I hung the serrated knives from the reverse end to allow a fresh cutting edge to do the work. I installed and snugged all the Allen bolts and then came back and torqued them to final specification. Next, I reinstalled the shredder grate. I hooked the top edge into the slotted hole of the discharge chute and reinstalled the mount bolt. Prior to reinstalling the side cover, I test fit the bearing retainer. I polished the end of the shaft with a die grinder. To ensure a consistent bevel, I held the die grinder steady as I rotated the shaft. The square holes prevent rotation, allowing the nuts to be tightened with just one tool. I installed the 3 carriage bolts and held them flush to the side cover as I installed the bearing and tightened the nuts. I went old school with an air ratchet and drew the side cover tightly in place. When I test fit the side cover and rotated the chipper drum, I noticed it had excessive noise. The side cover had become warped with age, so I added a flat bushing to remove the end play. This allowed the drum to operate smoothly and quietly. Here's a close-up of the pillow block bearing that was lubricated to allow easy installation. Next, I reinstalled and tightened the lock collar. The black spacers are installed to support the shaft cover. This will prevent cracking when the nuts are tightened. I installed the shaft protective cover, ensuring the grease zerk was accessible through the cutout. Before I turned my attention to the belt replacement, I greased the wheel bearings. The next step is to remove the upper and lower belt guard and replace the worn belt. The upper belt guard is held in place with 3 bolts. The upper center bolt is threaded into a bracket. The left hand and right hand are a nut-bolt combination, and access must be gained through the body. The lower belt guard is stud-mounted and is easily removable. With the clutch disengaged, the worn belt slips easily from the pulleys. If the stiff new belt is difficult to install, start the belt on the lower pulley first, then rest it on the upper pulley, holding it in place as you pull the starter cord that will rotate the shaft and feed the belt into the groove. Then engage and disengage the clutch and check for tension. To prevent premature belt wear, I'm going to tune up the belt clutch. The clutch is held in place with 2 pivot bolts. The upper bolt is accessed through the shredder chute. The bolt is quite a reach, so I used a long wrench and an impact driver to remove the nut. To keep the bolt from falling out, I reinstalled the nut and the bushing. Here's the complete assembly and the tools I used to remove it. I used the assembly as a handle and I descaled the pulley with a wire wheel on a bench grinder. I finished the job by burnishing the pulley and deburring the edges. Then I soaked the clutch assembly in degreaser. A soft bristle brush allowed me to deep clean into all the tight areas. I removed the pulley and cleaned the assembly with alcohol to remove the oily residue. I lubricated all the moving parts and pivot points with synthetic brake grease. I installed and exercised the pulley, looking for signs of binding or sounds that would lead to premature wear. I lubricated both clutch pivot points on the mulcher before installing the clutch. I reinstalled the upper belt guard first. I installed the center bolt to hold the belt guard in place, then I installed the other two bolts and tightened all three equally. Because the fuel tank had been drained before the mulcher was put in storage, I turned it on its side to make access to the bolts easier. Then I decided what the heck, and I flipped it up on the chute and installed the lower belt guard at a standing position. Do not tip the machine over with fuel in the tank. Also, turn the machine upright and let it rest to let the oil drain back to the crankcase prior to starting the engine. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something along the way. If you did, please like and share. And remember, subscribers are always welcome.